I think that this is too easy a question for you, but I want to hear it anyway. So, what we know what the current situation is with the university system in Western countries.
Mhm.
But what do you think is going to happen in 5, 10, 15 years? Where do you think? I'm just talking about Western countries. I'm not talking about anywhere else. Western countries.
It's, you know what? I don't think it's that easy a question, because when you look at big universities like this, there's these gigantic bureaucracies that are forming, and they're getting more and more bloated, and there's more and more people who rely on this university industrial complex. And these universities are extremely rich. They've got all of these tax incentives, and Patrick Bet-David did a great breakdown about this, about how these universities are so rich, and more rich than Facebook. And there's a lot there, and oftentimes these institutions don't go down without a fight. But if you just look at the world that we live in right now, how many more employers these days are looking at people and saying, "Oh, I don't really care about the degree, I care more about the person." Degrees are, they're getting less and less worried about that. Um, and these days, with the free market of ideas and the free exchange of ideas online, you get a lot of people who are doing these like course creation, creating online courses, and people laugh at it. They turn their nose up at these courses. But when I look at that, I think this is really a good thing, because when you create this competition where people are trying to put the most value into a course for the smallest price, for the best price possible, then it creates this race where people are trying to, like I said, create the most value. So these online courses are becoming more efficient, they're becoming more beneficial, and eventually they're going to become more credible, because people are going to be like, what's the next step? Okay, we have to have these online courses have some sort of credibility, and they have to be certified. So all of a sudden you're able to learn what you would learn in 4 years at a university degree. You can learn that in a 2-week course, and that is completely doable for me.
Yeah. What makes me very angry, and I have so much experience because of the 20-year intern program I have, is just the term, college education. Because what does that mean? I mean, I had students here that studied like medieval European history, and they had a 4-year degree. And I had students here that like had degrees in chemistry and physics and engineering or architecture. Why are these even in the same organization? It doesn't make any sense, because one is not an education and one is an education. So when I talk about the university system, I'm not talking about like hard science. You need to go to college. You're not going to learn on YouTube physics. Well, maybe some
Yeah.
people, but that's not the majority of people going to universities. And the majority of those people aren't even Americans. They're Asians. So it doesn't even matter. The amount of Americans go to school to study soft things that you could literally learn on YouTube. They're not real things. They're, marketing and social media and history and art things. This is not anything you can get a job with. And
Yeah.
what I was saying is, for my 20-year internship program, what I saw is that it is totally factually incorrect to call 4 years in college a college education. Because someone spent 4 years in college does not mean they have any education. It means they have a diploma. And between what they've been taught, between the effort of the students, between getting rid of grades and lowering the standards and increasing the tuition and just becoming a big puppy mill to make money, you have many people that I have college graduates all the time that to me didn't even have like a high school education. They were literally just ignorant. I had lots of, I in the last couple of years of the intern program coming up to COVID, I was firing 1 out of every 3 interns. These are unpaid interns. I had interns from Ivy League schools, from places like Yale. Can you imagine you're fired from an unpaid internship at a motorcycle apparel company and you're in Yale because that's how bad you are? This is not unusual. I'm saying 1 out of every 3. I'd have 50 or 60 interns a year and could fire up to 20 of them every year. So I want to go nuts when I hear someone like Mike Rowe that should know better calling it a college education. I would like to take a high school equivalency test from 1960 and give it to Harvard, Yale, Oxford students today and see how many of them could pass a 1960 high school equivalency test. I'll bet you 80% of them couldn't pass it.
Yeah.
What college?
These people are the ones who end up generally in like the bureaucracies and like the New York Times and all of these positions that eventually they go and they've got this esteemed degree and they have this esteemed career, and then they are faced to debate someone like Douglas Murray and they get absolutely dragged.
Yeah, I dated a Vietnamese woman here, lived America. I mean, emigrated here. I didn't date her in Vietnam, and a long time ago. But I stayed close friends with her, and her son graduated last year, and you know, she had Vietnamese father and mother, so he's like Vietnamese, but grew up in the United States. But she's very Vietnamese, so he had an Asian tiger mom. And I went to the graduation at University of Maryland, and he was in an engineering kind of class. And I'm looking, there's like, you know, in his class, there's maybe like 100 students. There's like no white, no Hispanic, no African American. They're all Indians, Chinese, Vietnamese. They're like all Asians. Like, this is like the only real education the school is doing, and there's like no Americans in it. I mean, he's American, but you know what? I understand what I'm saying. Culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, university should be for doctors, for physicists, for chemists, for those things. It shouldn't be for studying, you know, medieval lesbian basket weaving and stuff. It's just, it gives someone a degree. And then how are they supposed to get a job with that? I mean,
it's useless.